Hey guys, Estelle back here. I'm bringing you another video. This is Domination, of course, on MWD, or Weapons of Mass Destruction. I recently saw Wing's video. It was relatively new, not too terribly old. That he did a talk on something. I forget what it was, but the weapon he was using was this particular setup, an M14 with the Relex Scope. It makes it kind of look like an ACOG when you put this scope on it. And I thought, that sounds interesting. I want to give that a shot. It looked like fun. He was on radiation. It was a couple of videos ago, so you guys might remember this video. So I decided I'm gonna check that out. Now I added the type. This isn't obviously his camo, his skin that he put on it, but this I thought it was a much cooler looking skin, and I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to let you guys know how I feel about this setup because a lot of guys, it's kind of getting Black Ops is starting to wind down, and the buzz about the next game MW3 is coming out. So we got to find new things to do and new things to try out to keep the game interesting and fun, and of course for you guys. So I thought I'd do a different class setup. Like I said, I showed you guys the Kaparis weapon, and I'm still evaluating that one, and I'll give you guys my final thought on that. And then I want to give you guys my thoughts on this one. This is the first match that I pretty much really used it. I think I tried to use it in another match, but it lasted only like a minute, so I really never got a chance to do this. But this is my first full match with this thing, and I like it. My score is positive, but it doesn't is nothing to brag about. And some people might say it's not even YouTube worthy, but I could give two shits about that. What's a YouTube worthy video if it's about kitties? So I don't care about that. I wanted to let you know what I feel about this, and also too, now that I'm talking about this weapon, the M14, I need to retract a comment that I made a couple times in previous videos. I originally thought that the M14, this particular weapon, was used in a Marine Corps silent drill team. Those are the guys that you'll see dressed up in the dress blues and white pants doing drill movements. There's 20 of them in a platoon doing all these really crazy drill movements with their bayonets attached, with the flips of the guns and marching movements and things like that, inspections. Very cool stuff. I thought they originally used these. I thought they used these weapons. They don't. They use what's called the M1 Grand. Any of you weapon buffs or history buffs will know what I'm talking about. The M1 Grand was used intensively. Everybody pretty much knows it in World War II. That was the big shining moment for this weapon. And I believe pretty much the M1 Grand stuck around all the way until Vietnam era when the M16 was introduced. And a lot of guys that were still in the service of when they made that switch from they originally had an M1 Grand, but later in their career had the M16, really still wanted the M1 Grand. Obviously, the M16 was a pretty crappy weapon at the time; wasn't very good. Isn't what the weapon that we use today, but the old reliable M1 Grand is something that they really didn't like. It was a very easy weapon to operate, to break down and clean. I believe all you had to do is push a button, flip the switch near the trigger, and while holding it or something like that, I forget exactly how you lift up the metal bars called is the trigger housing group. You just flip it up, and it basically, I believe, it cracks down into two big parts. The barrel end and then the butt end, where the trigger and the butt of the rifle is. And then you took out the bolt, which wasn't that small at all. It was pretty bulky, so it was very easy to break down and clean and put together and maintain. Now the M16 was a little bit more intense than that. It had a lot more pieces. It had two parts. You had to push in two pins and pull the pins out, and those kind of could be a bitch sometimes to get out, especially if you didn't have like a pen or something to stick in there to get the pins started. Took those out, and then the weapon pretty much took apart in two halves. You had the upper receiver part, which was the barrel and the bolt group, and then you had the lower receiver, which was where the trigger was, and then also the buttstock, obviously. And then out of the upper receiver part, you took out the bolt group, and that broke down into things. In the upper receiver, you could take off the handguards, that kind of stuff. The compensator, which is that little tiny metal post that you can adjust right at the tip of the barrel. No, I'm sorry, that's not the compensator. The compensator was the piece where all the muzzle, that is a special design piece of metal that goes at the end of the barrel that that dictates where the flash and the gas is going to go and how it goes, and that's why it gives the weapon its accuracy and stuff like that. The little sight post is, you could also take that. So there's a lot of parts that you had in the M16. The M1 Grand didn't have anything like that, so that's why people enjoyed using that. But I'm getting off topic, and I wanted to give you a little bit of a history lesson because that's what I like doing. I'm a history nut. But let's get on to this match and what I feel about this weapon. This weapon in my hands, I find it makes me camp a lot. It's tough. It's pretty much borderline, pretty much a sniper rifle. Obviously, it doesn't have the whole breath-ish thing like that, but it practically is. It doesn't shoot as accurately at long distances across maps like the sniper rifles will, but it pretty much is. And you know, with camping, it can be hit or miss because of the whole camping issue. Because I have to be down sites for a while and try to find people, and I need people to come to me. I find myself only using this weapon in certain maps. Array for sure. This map. What else comes to mind? I think Discovery, I could use this weapon. But when it comes to those short range instances and scenarios, engagements, I'm not very good at it. Now, obviously, Wings was. I mean, the weapon that this weapon he was using in radiation, he was very good with short range engagements with it. Obviously, I'm not Wings, and I can't do that, at least yet. So I always have to, when I'm in a situation like that, even in the very beginning of the video, you saw me kill that one guy and I'll pick up his secondary, his primary weapon, which became my secondary, which was the 74U. I always do that. Whoever I kill that I walk right past, I try to get their weapon and pray to God that it's some sort of assault weapon or SMG weapon, so just in case that I can flip to very easily. Another thing, and you're going to see this happen here pretty soon in a few minutes or so, it gets me in trouble. Obviously, camping can get you in trouble very easily, and this setup can get me in trouble if I'm not paying attention right. That I can sit there too long and wear out my welcome somewhere, and you'll see that happen right near the end of this video. In fact, right at the end of the video, you'll see me just try to camp the spot, because these guys have just kept coming. And I think I killed this guy once or twice or something, and he got pissed off enough, and he figured that I would still be there. He came up the back way around under C building there, and came to me and knifed me in the back. So you got to be kind of careful with that. This was a pretty cool kill. I thought it was pretty neat how he flashed me, and I'm backing up, and I didn't see him. I just started shooting too. So I thought it was pretty interesting. So all in all, it's a fun weapon. I need some more time with it to master it, but I do like it. It's something different. Like I said, I'm using the Kaparis right now instead of the M74U, and I like it. I did put the grip on it, and it seems pretty good. I like it. That it seems to help it. The kick issue, especially. I don't have rapid fire on it, and I guess I could put rapid fire on it, but I didn't. Oh, good lord, I forgot there was a noob tube. Yeah, seeing those a few times. Guys still do the tube, especially in frustration moments when a team's losing real badly, kind of like right here, or we're playing domination earlier today. Guys would originally start out with a weapon and not use the tube, but near the end of the game, they would start tubing people. I understand it. It gets frustrating sometimes to keep losing like that, but God, I hate those new tubes. Oh, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. I just don't like the tubes. I just think it's cheap. I think it's unfair. Obviously, I believe there could be certain situations that it could be used, but the extent and the frequency that people use it now, it's unnecessary. Here's where I get in trouble. Kill this dude, I think. As soon as I turn myself, oh yeah, and pick up the secondary, pick up that thing there, I forget what that's called. And I wait for another dude to pop up, and he does. Cue the bad dude, and there he goes. Got him. I thought there was a third one. Yep, there's a third one, and then I believe right now I'm gonna get knifed here in the back. So that's what happens when you mess around with weapons like that and you camp in areas. I'm not a very good sniper, by no means of the imagination here, but so it takes me time to zoom in on a guy. So that's what happens. All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Do what you guys do, and I'll check you later. Take care.